Imagine being a 30-year-old wife and the mother of 5 children. You and your husband work minimum wage jobs. Now just imagine your husband is sent to prison. The welfare of these 5 small souls is now entirely your responsibility, as is the financial burden you will bear as you try to provide a decent life for them. How will you manage? Who will be there to shore you up when the task is overwhelming? Who will you turn to help you make life-altering decisions, not only for yourself, but for 5 other lives? For young Everly, the answer to these questions appeared to come so easily that I was almost embarrassed by my own failure to see the obvious. God will provide. Everly and her children were one of the many memorable Central Oklahoma Habitat for Humanity families who helped strengthen me on my own journey of faith. She was charming, joyful, very bright, and a firm believer in the power of prayer and had great faith. Everly worked hard, as all Habitat family partners do, to fulfill the required 300 hours of sweat equity, alongside the other volunteers and contractors building her home. After moving into her Habitat home with an affordable mortgage payment, she could provide stability for her children and better utilize her limited financial resources. She was able to go back to school, first for her LPN, then for her RN degree. I attended her graduation, and I distinctly remember being so inspired by her tenacity, her steadfast faith, and her ability to not only experience joy, but to share it with others, despite the challenges she faced every day. I was truly humbled by her exuberant spirit. Everly's life and the life of her children are forever changed because she trusted God to deliver on His promise, to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future, according to His words in Jeremiah 29:11. Yes, Everly faced many challenges on her journey to a better life, but her unwavering faith provided her with the peace she needed to carry on with joy in her heart. Her story of overcoming challenges through faith and little help from Habitat is just one of the many Habitat endings we hear about each year. Habitat for Humanity was formed as a faith-based program in 1976 by the late Millard Fuller and his wife Linda, on the principle that everyone deserves a simple, decent, affordable place to live. Habitat's philosophy is a hand up, not a handout. Habitat takes a sustainable approach to ending poverty housing, one family like Everly's, and one home at a time. It is through the generosity of God's people and the volunteers He sends to us that we are able to help people like Everly and her children. At Habitat, we believed all are called to serve others. Hebrews 6:10 tells us, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown Him as you have helped His people and continue to help them. And it has been through our faith in God's promise that we have achieved success in our service to others. Working in various nonprofit positions, I had the opportunity to learn management and fundraising skills. Then a friend asked me to get involved with Central Oklahoma Habitat. When I began, our assets were of the mustard seed variety, but we stepped out in faith and moved forward. We began the affordable housing ministry without any paid staff, an office the size of a broom closet, and a church basement, and had no sustainable revenue stream. We built 3 houses that first year. We now build 45 to 50 affordable homes each year. More than 900 families now experience homeownership because we had faith and the will to serve. And we are blessed to live in a community that enthusiastically supports each other. Looking back on my Habitat journey, I feel as though I was in training my entire life for the role I've now played for more than 27 years. I believe now that I was being prepared to take on not only a much greater challenge, but to face my own challenges with greater grace, and that each small step of faith brought me closer to God's plan for my life. As is often the case, we are unaware of that plan, and I'm sure that it is His wisdom that keeps Him from showing it to us from the beginning to the end, because if I would have seen the greater challenge ahead, I might have run in the other direction. Instead, I have learned to continually step out in faith, and He has always provided, ever increasing His blessings on our ministry and my faith in His Word. More than 900 families have benefited from our new home program, but the need for affordable housing is not diminishing. According to a recent study presented by the Oklahoma Housing Finance Agency in 2016, 66,821 total affordable housing units will be needed through 2020. We want to be part of the solution to the affordable housing demands. Because we take no federal funding and are not a United Way agency, we rely on the private sector to meet the demands for our ministry. We cannot do this alone. But we will continue to have faith in God's grace, the service of volunteers, and the generosity of donors so we can make a difference in our community. We're also trying to change lives in a rather unorthodox way. In 2012, we began partnering with the Oklahoma Department of Corrections to work with inmates preparing to transition back into the community. By working with Central Oklahoma Habitat for Humanity, participants learn new skills that will help them find gainful employment when they're released. They also work with us building trusses, which in the long run saves us about $1,000 a house. They are shown Christ's love through our staff while they learn about service to others. They join in holiday meals with us and attend special events with us. We regularly receive letters thanking us not only for their new skills that help them get a good job, but for the spiritual renewal that helped them think more positively about the way they want to live in the future. We have often faced difficult times in our ministry, but by having faith in God's grace and continuing to work to serve others, we've experienced the joy of the journey. The smiles on the faces of families at home dedications who have the opportunity, maybe for the first time in their lives, to live in a safe, stable environment is an indescribable joy. When I present them with their house keys and welcome them into the Habitat family, it's still as special after more than 27 years as it was the very first time. At the dedications, I see the volunteers and donors who have made it possible for a family to face a brighter future. It is clear that they too are experiencing a joy that comes from a place of giving of oneself. It is impossible to walk away from these moments and not feel God's hand upon it. God is always faithful, so I would encourage you to trust in Him. Not be afraid to step out in faith and to find your calling in service to others. Romans 8:28 reminds us, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Helping others does not require you to make a lifelong commitment to serve in a set role, only to use your servant's heart where you may. The gift of increased faith you will receive each time you step out of your comfort zone, allowing God to bless your decision to trust in Him, you will find the truth in the lesson of Jesus recited in Mark 11:24, which tells us, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours."